Hey everybody, Javers Vintage Collector here with another video. So this past weekend, my wife and I had plans to go to Florida, Siesta Key a while back, but those plans kind of got changed with some things that were going on. So we said we kind of still wanted to get away, and we decided that we could do a short real trip right across the border to Canada, and we decided to do that. So it's only about a 25-minute drive from my house to Niagara Falls, Canada, which in all honesty is very, very nice over there. Not like Niagara Falls, New York. So if you're ever going to come see Niagara Falls, go to the Canadian side. If you come to this side, you can hang out with me and I'll show you Niagara Falls during the day, and then we got to beat feet and I'll take you across the border and show you the nicer side. But anyway, we went, and as is always the case, I try and scope out a card shop that is close to us whenever we go on vacation. And I was able to do so. So I found a place called M&L Collectibles, recommended by Mike, Sports Card Collector, and Steven with a PH. And I went there, and it was a small shop, really small, but jam-packed full of items. It leads me into a little bit of a discussion about pricing. And it's very different because we're talking about Canadian prices and U.S. prices. But then if you kind of look at what the pricing is, it still just seems a little off. We did get a chance while we were up there. This is going to be mostly a hockey episode. We got to go to Wayne Gretzky's winery, which was beautiful. It was awesome. Such a great time. Outdoor hockey rink there, a couple of outside bars, the indoor winery. I mean, it was awesome. A Wayne Gretzky Museum was in there. Really, really nice place. Highly recommend. But anyway, we get there, and I kind of look around. I tell the person that's working there, and she's pretty on top of her knowledge. I mean, she's really knowledgeable about stuff. Not the greatest people person, but not rude either. I think if you look at the reviews, there are some people that, I would think that it's her that they're talking about, but she's far from rude. She's just got her own way of doing things. I think people can read that the wrong way. But anyway, I started looking around. I tell her I'm looking for vintage baseball. They have some baseball. She says there's some spinning racks over there. I said, and I'm also looking for modern hockey. Well, the first thing I go to do is look through the vintage baseball. And I kind of look, and one of the first things I see in the spinning rack is a 1970 Thurman Munson rookie, which I don't have. And it's not really a card that's on my list, but it was the biggest card in that rack that kind of caught my eye. It's a raw card, which I have no problems with. But then I read the price tag. Price tag says that it is $400 Canadian, which seems really, really high to me. Without doing the math in my head, I don't know exactly what the American price is. I'll probably put it up right here, but I think it's around like $325 American, which still seems very, very high to me for a raw card. It looked nice. I mean, I'm not a grading guy, so I can say that the corners look nice and, it looked kind of centered and the color was good, but I don't know if all those things make it, what it would take it to make it grade a perfect, 10. So what I did was I kind of looked at it and then just was like, this prices seem off. And then there were a couple other vintage cards there that I looked at. A 64 Topps Giants stack of cards kind of popped up, and I'm putting together that set. So I saw right on the top there was an Orlando Cepeda. Same thing. I look at the price, $40 raw. And the card to me looks just like every other card that I have from that set. And honestly, I pay anywhere from like $2 to $8 a piece for most of those cards, minus the big names. And Cepeda really doesn't go for all that much money. So I went ahead and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do an impulse buy here. I'm just going to kind of pass on the baseball stuff. But then I looked through the hockey stuff, and it's mostly modern. And that's what I'm going to show after this. So I know that's not everybody's jam, but I really enjoy that these days. And I was able to pick up a whole bunch of stuff, and they actually really worked with me really well on prices. When they gave me the price and converted to United States, to U.S. money, they were spot on. They were right there where they needed to be. So pretty honest place. But it got me thinking about the Munson and the Cepeda and pricing and kind of where we're at. And so where I thought Munson was way off, I don't know. I don't know if he is or not. So I pulled up what I did was I went to 130 Point, which is what I used to look at past sales. And I put in 1970, Thurman Munson, mint condition. That's kind of what the qualifier wanted to be. I figured that would be like looking up something that people would think would grade at a 10. So I pull up the prices. And honestly, going through the past handful of sales, they're all over the place. So maybe the $325 asking price wasn't unreasonable. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys. I'd really like to know, or hear your opinions on that in the comments. And then the same thing with the Cepeda. But the Cepeda, I looked at those past sales, and again, I'll pop them up here while I'm talking. They don't seem as though that they were near where the price point was in the store. So, maybe it was true for the Munson. I still don't really think it was there for the Cepeda. I didn't look at any of the other 64 Giants or any of the vintage baseball, just based alone on the fact that the prices were where they at. And who knows, maybe they would have worked with me too. But it just seemed, those aren't cards that I really wanted to, especially the Munson. It's just not a card that's on my list of cards to get. But I do know it's a popular card. So I'd really like to hear your thoughts on it. In addition to showing you my pickups, the USA hockey team won gold, which was great. And because I've been on my hockey kick, I wanted to kind of really celebrate that. So I'm going to start a new project. Again, I always start new projects. But my project is going to be to get a representation of each one of the players that was on the U.S. men's hockey team for this year. And in some form, get a gold like card of theirs. So like some type of subset card. And I actually picked up my first one. So I'll show that too. All right. Stay tuned. Let's turn it around. Okay. So again, don't pay too much attention to what the prices say on the cards. I did not pay the amount that on the cards. They kind of had a whole bunch of different deals going on. The majority of these cards are from the $2 bin, which again in US is going to be a little bit lower than that in price. And then there were a couple from the $10 bin and a couple from the $5 bin. So just kind of a variety here. But getting back to that new project. So this is a JT Miller. As you can see, the gold on there. That's kind of what I'm going for. This is called Seismic Gold. They are numbered out of 50. Every single player on the U.S. team has a card in this set. So I'd really like to try and stick with this set. The problem is that, of course, the team having won the gold, Olympic gold, those prices are actually on those players are changing a little bit pretty rapidly. So maybe I'll wait a little bit. But I got time. I'm not looking to put this together. Of course, I take time with all my projects. All right. So that was my purchase for that. When I was at the store, I'm in Collectibles. I'm still trying to put together the Tim Hortons Upper Deck Tim Hortons set. So I bought a bunch of packs, way cheaper than I would buy here. Got all these. I'm not going to go through them. That's just what the base cards look like. Really nice cards. Got some needs there. I like opening packs, so that was that. Again, the inserts, they have some really cool inserts. But these are the inserts that came, some of these that came with these. A bunch of them I did need. These goalie etchings are really cool cards. But yeah, I won't go through all of them, but the True North Heroes, that's another subset. So I got a bunch of those. Those are just from the packs that I bought. So then we get into some of the other cards that I bought. And I was pretty much going for stuff that you don't find every day. I was able to get this one right here, Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau. This is an SP for when he was in the suit. Again, didn't pay that price on it, but I thought this was a great find. Love having this type of stuff. Rest in peace, Johnny Hockey. Then I went ahead and found this, Matt Boldy. Well, this is kind of like a purplish. I don't know the names of all of them, but I know that these are a little bit tougher pulls, and maybe they're not all that tough, but I like them. They catch my eye. There's a Nathan McKinnon. I'm a big Avalanche fan, so really nice to get that. I think it's just really cool the way that those all pop like that. So on top of those, again, I'll run through just kind of really quick. I'm not going to put them all up, but these Upper Deck canvas cards, these just like, what this reminds me of is the Stadium Club hockey or baseball cards where the images are just so great. And the canvas cards from the Upper Deck set just have an alternate image and they look great. So there's a Charlie McAvoy. I think that's really the only canvas card that I got from there. Again, from the upper deck set, this is another Dazzler. You can see all the everything kind of just the way it is. Matt Kachuk, I'm a big Matt Kachuk fan. People hate him. My wife hates him. But look at that card. That's just a base card from Parkhurst. And I think that's just super cool. I spent at this store, I'm not really concerned about saying what I spent, but here's a Cup Quest. I spent a total of $90, I'm sorry, $80 at this shop on all these cards that I'm showing right now. So I didn't think that that was bad. Again, most of these are just inserts. They're not expensive inserts, but they are some form of inserts. You can see there's just a speckle on there. Kachuk. I thought this was really cool too. Look at how that just like bubbles or glass or something like that. Pretty cool. There's a Dylan Cousins. Wish the Sabres still had him. Trying to go a little quicker here. Larkin, this is the purple variation. Again, a little bit tougher pull, I believe. This Ovechkin is actually probably the most, I don't know if it's the most valuable card I got. Oops, I said value. I don't care about value. But like highest card or maybe just kind of the highest or the most sought after maybe. Look at the rainbow. Love this type of stuff. Hockey cards are really where it's at. Upper Deck knows what they're doing. Oh, here's another canvas. So there's another image. Drysdale. I mean, just look at what a great image on there. Really cool stuff. We've got a Zach Werenski. As you can see, I'm really stocking up on a lot of the U.S. Hockey guys that were, oh boy, falling apart here. There's an Electricity, Ovechkin. I'll just pick up where we left off over here. Reinhardt. This is the green variation, just like that Larkin that I showed earlier. This is gonna have Gaudreau on it again. Just really cool design on these. And then there's the Avs. I got the Avs one too with the sparkles, same thing. And then these guys, well, I'll show these ones first. Here's one of those acetate ones of Erik Karlsson, really cool. How about another Nathan McKinnon? Look at all the shine on that. And then a Pasternak purple variation. So one of the bigger subsets to put together for the Tim Hortons set is the Co-Star set. So I was able to grab 4 of these. They had them individually in the cases. And it's cool because these kind of change. You can see that it goes from Kachuk to Barkov, which is really cool. So there's that one. I was able to get one for the Sens. That's Brady Kachuk and Tim Stutzel. I've got McDavid and I think this is Draisaitl. Yep. And then I was able to get McKinnon and Makar, which is awesome. So all those, it was about $80 there. It was a fun time. I really enjoy it. So I know that this isn't up everybody's alley, but I really would like to know what everyone thinks about the pricing on the vintage stuff and what your thoughts are. So thanks for tuning in. Just an average guy showing some average cards. Bye.